Hey everyone, Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the BDS 2-inch suspension lift kit with Fox 2.0 coilovers and Fox 2.0 performance shocks, fitting 2019 to 2024 four-wheel drive Ram 1500s without air ride, also excluding EcoDiesel and TRX models. This lift kit is going to appeal to the Ram owner who wants extra height, significantly improved suspension performance, and the ability to fit larger wheels and tires on their truck. This is a really high quality lift kit with a lot of good stuff included. The shocks alone make it a great option, but there's a lot of other reasons to consider this too. So let's start out with a thing that you all want to know, and that's the maximum tire size. With this kit, you will be able to fit up to 33 by 12.5 inch tires on your truck, so you will be able to upsize a bit versus stock. Now this is a 2-inch front lift with no additional height for the rear, so 33s are going to be the most you can fit without having to do trimming or make other modifications. And while we'll talk more about it momentarily, keep in mind that the coilovers are adjustable for height. So just keep that in mind that if you do adjust these down, you will also have to adjust your tire sizing accordingly. Now speaking of these coilovers, these are really the highlight of this kit. They come fully assembled as you see them right here on the table, and they're ready to bolt in, which does make the installation process easier for you. And as I already mentioned, these do have a threaded body to the shocks, so they can be height adjustable, but they come set up and ready for you to go, just ready to bolt right in. They also come with a set of iBox springs installed on them already, which are designed for a lifted application. So they're gonna have the proper spring rates for a lifted truck that is intended to see some off-road action. These are also perfectly matched to the shocks, and you might even notice they've got the Fox logo on here, so Fox spec'd these springs specifically for this type of shock. Now the shocks, both front and rear, are the Fox 2.0s. Now these are going to be monotube shocks that are designed to work with your stock rear springs and these included new front springs. They provide some seriously impressive damping and rebound characteristics, so they will be well behaved both on and off-road. There's a reason that OEMs will often use Fox shocks for their performance models. Now, being monotube shocks, you can expect that the on-road ride quality will end up being just a bit stiffer than stock, but it's not going to be punishing by any means. The Fox 2.0s offer improved cooling capacity with specific valving inside to eliminate cavitation or aeration and maximize performance. So you're going to get that travel and rebound that you need out on the trails with the stable, compliant ride on the street. Now, also included in this kit are a set of heavy-duty upper control arms. These are designed specifically to work with a lifted truck. You can see they've got angled ball joints here to allow for proper alignment, as well as additional travel that you'll need with that additional height. They do come with the ball joints already pressed in and ready to go, making for an easy installation process as well. Everything in this kit is really solid. The shocks feature a 2-inch extruded 6061 T6 aluminum body for better heat dissipation, as well as a 5/8 inch thick hardened chrome-plated heat-treated alloy shaft, plus those internal floating pistons and all the other good stuff we were discussing inside for some serious performance. The control arms are made from heavy-duty 1.5 inch diameter tubular steel, and they're finished with this durable black powder coat for some additional protection. Again, the ball joints come already pressed in. They are also greasable with the included Zerk fitting to extend their lifespan, and you get brand new rubber bushings at the mounting points, so these should last you a good long while. And heck, even the cap for the ball joints on here is made of aluminum and has a nice thick rubber seal on it. So these really are a high quality setup, and it makes it worth the price of entry. Speaking of pricing, this kit is going to run you about $2,500, and while that is on the pricier side for a kit of this size, you are getting a lot of good stuff baked in here, specifically those Fox shocks, the iBox springs, and these really nice upper control arms. This is definitely a premium offering in the segment, and if you want the best you can get, you're going to have to be willing to shell out for it. Installation gets a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 3 hours to complete. Now everything here is designed to bolt right in place of your factory components, so you're not going to need a spring compressor thanks to the front coils, and that makes this about as easy as a lift or leveling kit will get. With that though, let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the process.
For this install, you need a pry bar, an impact gun, a ratchet, spray lubricant, 21, 18, and 8mm socket, a 15/16, 21, 16, 17, 18, and 19mm wrench, a hammer and a rubber mallet, a 9mm wrench, 6mm Allen wrench, needle nose pliers, a grease gun, and also not shown will be a lift and pull jacks. All right, today we're going to be putting a lift kit on our Ram. First, we're going to watch a quick video how to uninstall the stock strut. Then we're going to come back here to uninstall the rest of it and then install the new kit.
First things first, guys, of course you want to get your truck up in the air, whether you're using a lift or if you're working on the ground with the jack and jack stands. Now I got my 22 socket here in my air tools. I'm going to get this wheel out of the way so we can get started. First thing we're going to do with the wheel out of the way is disconnect a couple of ABS line clips. That way, when we're lowering down our entire spindle, it's not putting extra pressure on our brake lines. Now, this line here, the ABS line and the brake line are connected. So we're going to pull back on this plastic clip to disconnect and slide those guys out. Follow the ABS line up and it's connected to the upper control arm. We're going to wiggle that guy back and forth to disconnect it. Follow it back down to the spindle and there's one more to pull out. All right, now on the back of the spindle, you'll see this metal clip. It's more of an S-shaped. We're just gonna wiggle this rubber grommet out of that. And now you can see this whole thing's loose and has a lot of slack. Next step, we're gonna pick up our 21mm deep socket and we're gonna loosen it and remove the nut holding on our tie rod end. Now what I like to do is once I have that nut off, pull the tie rod end out, and I like to put the nut back on just so we don't lose it. Next, we're going to remove the bottom bolt of our strut. Now, it's a 21mm bolt head with a 15/16 nut on the opposite end. So I've got my wrench on the nut there and my 21 on the bolt head. We're going to get this guy off. Now, we may need a hammer to just tap this out, but if you can wiggle it out, you can do that now. All right, next we want to remove the bottom of our sway bar end link nut and the upper control arm to spindle nut. Those things are going to have the entire spindle drop down, or the lower control arm as well, and we want to make sure we have that weight supported so it doesn't drop down on us. So if you're working on a lift, grab a pole jack at this point. If you're working on the ground, a hydraulic jack will do the trick. All right, next up we're going to grab an 18mm deep socket and loosen and remove the bottom nut of our sway bar end link that connects to the lower control arm. Now in theory, you could remove the top portion that connects to the sway bar, but I find it easier to do it this way just because there's a lot more room to work with and I can get an impact gun on here. So now we can take the 18 and remove it. With this out of the way, when we go to lower this thing down, the sway bar won't stop it from going as low as we need it. All right, so next we want to tackle the upper control arm to the spindle bolt. Now when we're trying to loosen it, this is going to rotate back and forth. In order to keep it from doing that, to make our lives easier, I'm just going to take this nut off and put our tie rod end back on. Now we don't have to tighten it down, but that'll keep it from moving around too much and help us out. With your lower control arm still supported, grab a 13/16 wrench or a 21, and you're going to go in here and break this upper control arm to spindle nut loose. We have this loose. I'm going to bring the nut down to a couple of the last threads. We're not going to completely remove the nut just yet. As you can see, the spindle is still attached to the upper control arm. We need to grab a hammer and break this guy loose so it'll jolt free. If you completely remove this nut, that'll break free and it'll drop down. So this is going to help catch it. Then we'll come back and remove it. So we're going to grab a hammer and tap on the actual spindle. You don't want to hit the upper control arm. You don't want to risk damaging the bushing. So we're going to hit this side right here on the spindle. All right, so you saw us break that loose. Now we can remove our nut. I'm going to grab a pry bar and put it on the coil and pull down on the upper control arm. That way we can disconnect them. Let's work that nut off. All right, I'm going to drop that off to the side for now. You want to grab the spindle and slowly let go of the upper control arm. Now we can bring this down. Right now I'm just going to take that nut and again just thread it up on the upper control arm just so we don't lose it. All right, now we have our truck lowered a little bit to gain access to the top of our strut. Now there's 3 nuts. If you push this liner back a bit, 1 in the front right here and then 2 at the back. Now you'll see the wire is actually mounted to the top of that, so we'll be able to pop those off in just a bit. I would definitely recommend a 16mm ratcheting wrench. I have a longer guy here to give me a little bit more leverage. This is going to make life a lot easier just ratcheting back and forth. Otherwise, you can use a regular wrench or a ratchet and socket if you can get it in there. So let's get these 3 nuts off. All right, so now I'm just reaching my hand back in here and I'm going to wiggle back and forth the wiring harness to get them off of the stud. All right, so we got one of them off, this little clip. Just pull that back and rotate it up. So the same thing on the other one. And again, I know this is tough to see, really just pushing it out of the way. All right, so now we're switching back over to our ratcheting wrench, and we're gonna work off the last 2 bolts. All right, at this point, the strut is loose. We just have to get it out of position. So in order to do that, I'm gonna push down on the entire spindle lower control arm assembly, lift this guy up, and pop it out. Just like that.
All right, since our kit does come with a new upper control arm, we will need to remove our stock one. It's just 2 21mm bolts on either side. All right, you need to do the same thing for the other side. Now we can start installing our new suspension. I just have our struts sitting here just for now. But what we're gonna do is get our top strut mount through and get our new hardware in. We have a flat washer and locking nut to go on the top. So we're gonna get our strut into place and just hand thread those on the top for now. Put our washers first and then our locking nuts. Go ahead and get the other 2 threaded on with their washers. All right, we can get our control arm just in place right now. Just make sure you have the right one. The ball joint will be angled towards the back of the vehicle. Also, the logo will be in the front. So we're gonna get that in place. Put our factory bolts through. Then thread on our nuts. All right, now we can get our upper ball joint into our knuckle. Just gonna raise that up and set that into place. Get our new castle nut and just thread that on for now. Now we're gonna come to the bottom of our strut and put our bolt in. So we're gonna grab our pry bar and just wedge it in the lower control arm here, just so we can lift it up. Get it into place, put our bolt through. Thread our nut onto the back side. We'll come back and tighten everything later. Can also get our tie rod back in our knuckle and thread that on. So we're gonna start tightening everything, starting at the top, working our way down. So we'll start with our top 3 strut mount bolts. We're gonna grab our 17mm ratcheting wrench and tighten them down. And then our last one. Once they're all tight, we can put our wiring harnesses back over those studs. Just push them straight down on it. Now we can tighten our upper control arms. We're gonna grab our 21mm ratcheting wrench and just tighten them down. Same thing on the front. Now we're going to move to our knuckle. We're going to use the same 21mm ratcheting wrench and tighten our castle nut. Get that nice and tight. Install our cotter pin. Use a pair of needle nose pliers and just bend that around. Then you're going to grab your grease gun, grease up your ball joint. Once that is all greased up, you're going to take your cap. You're going to see the O-ring going around. Just give it a tap down. All right, if you need to, just get a rubber mallet, just tap it down. Next, we're gonna grab our impact and 21mm socket and tighten our tie rod nut down. And we can use that same impact and socket and our 15/16 wrench and tighten our lower strut mount. Then we're going to resecure our wiring into our knuckle and then onto our brake line here. Just snap that over. This one will not be reused. And we're just going to secure our brake line, our ABS wire to our brake line here. And then this one will not be reused. You can just let that hang there. Lastly, we just have our sway bar link. So we're going to thread our nut back on. Grab our impact and 18mm socket and tighten that down. Once you have this side all done, you just go ahead and repeat those same steps on the other side. Now we're going to come to the back of the truck. We have the back axle supported with pole jacks. What we need to do to access the rear shock is remove this splash shield here. So we're going to take 4 8mm bolts out of the splash shield. Take your splash shield out of the way. Now we can access the top of the shock. Now that we have access to our top shock mount, we're going to grab our 18mm ratcheting wrench and a 9mm wrench to hold the center and take our nut off. We can take our nut, our plate, and our top bushing off. Now we're going to take our lower shock mount off. So we're going to grab our impact 21mm socket and a 21mm wrench and take our bolt out. When we take our bolt out, we can just pull our shock out. Now we're just gonna get our shock ready to go in. I just have it wrapped in a towel right now just so we don't scratch it. We need to insert our lower bushing and sleeve. One thing to note, there are 2 different size sleeves. You just wanna take your bolt, just make sure the bolt will go through the correct sleeve. So we're gonna take some spray lubricant, just lubricate the inside here, just to help that isolator go through. If you need to, just get a rubber mallet and tap it through. And you do the same thing on the inside, just to help that sleeve go through. And then on the top, we're just gonna put half of our mount on. We're gonna get one of our metal plates and one of our rubber bushings. You'll see the raised part. Want that to sit up top. Then we can install our shock into our truck. Now we're gonna put our shock into place. We're gonna put it into our upper mount first, and then compress it up a little bit so we can get our bolt through. Thread our nut on also, and we can tighten our lower shock mount down. All right, so we'll take our impact and 21mm socket and 21mm wrench and tighten this down. Now we can just assemble the rest of our top shock mount. So we're gonna have our rubber bushing. Make sure the raised part is facing down now. And then our plate. We can thread on our nut. And then now we can tighten that down. Now we're gonna grab our 19mm ratcheting wrench and a 6mm Allen if you need it to hold the center. Put our wrench over first. Put our Allen in there. And tighten that down. Next, just put your plastic wheel liner back into place. And reinstall our 4 8mm screws that we took out. Grab your ratchet and 8mm socket and tighten them down. Once you have this all done, you just gotta repeat the same thing for the other side. And that wraps up our install of our BDS 2-inch suspension lift kit with Fox 2.0 coilovers and Fox 2.0 performance shocks for a 2019 and newer 4-wheel drive Ram 1500 without air ride, excluding the EcoDiesel and TRX. And remember, for everything Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.